Welcome to the Unorthodox podcast, hosted by myself, Carl Davey, and my co-host Michael Brownie.
What's going on?
Today with us we have Lucia and Sian Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
How we getting? How we doing?
Not bad, you know, not bad. We're doing alright.
I'll be real, that took me way too long to say.
I'll be honest with you, you kind of fucked my name a little bit.
Sean.
We're keeping this in the pot now.
You didn't say Sean.
Just showing that he's
I said Cheyenne.
We should change
I went with Sean and then I am.
We should change the name
from my first name is one syllable.
Wow. This pod's got off to a great start.
What?
We're going to change it from unorthodox to unprofessional. I'm out here like that.
Do you know it's unorthodox, it's different. Like, we're all laughing, that's the main thing, isn't it? It's different with a smile, we're all good.
You're going to have to go press that thing again.
No, I'm not. He keeps coming out of the shot as well. Listen, this is now the podcast now, so whatever we're saying here's going to run. You're damn fool.
Alright, so first of all, tell me a little bit about yourselves. We'll start with Lucia. Tell me kind of, you're in the men's game at the moment, who's it with? How'd you get involved?
Yeah, so I am with a team called St Margaret's Bury, which is in the Essex Senior League, and they're about Step 5 club. And the way it went about is more to do with during lockdown. It came about more when the first lockdown started. I decided to get back on Twitter, and I hadn't been on Twitter for a while, so I kind of joined Twitter back in. Use that social platform for a positive thing, start to get me a bit more engaged, and some coaches, some teams that I may have not spoken to before, and I saw some tweet come up about them looking for some coaches for the club, so got in contact with them, spoke to the manager, met the new management team, and kind of took off from there.
Sweet. And yourself, what are you doing at the moment?
I am currently head of the post-16 girls programme at Sutton United, and I'm playing for Millwall. And anything else I'm doing is like youth work stuff, basically.
So with Corona about now, it's all dead and buried apart from...
With Corona around, the Sutton stuff here is pretty much like not happening, basically. So we're not training, we're not playing. I'm just like checking in with the players, basically, because they're still in education. I'm still dealing with like escalations, basically. So if like they're missing lessons or anything like that, and parents have to be contacted or anything like that.
Oh, you're chasing them up, yeah?
Yeah, I've got to chase them. Yeah.
Blowing up their phone and that, yeah?
And stuff like that. Yeah, if they're like not in lesson, and or any just like like general mentoring, basically. It's just like they might just want to talk about stuff, basically, about life.
So my first real question to you is, as someone in the game who grew up, was there a lot of mentors for you as you grew up?
No.
And what's it like now having to use the experience that you had with no one there to put it into place for yourself now?
You kind of you try to aim for what you didn't have, if that makes sense. So if I was in situations when I was playing football when I was younger or being coached, I tried to fill the gaps that I didn't have filled, if that makes sense. So you are kind of going in blind though, because there's no one, you can't think, oh, I had that person, so I'm going to do that. You can't replicate it, so you are kind of blagging it, basically. But it's one of them jobs that you learn on the job, basically. You just learn how to manage things on the job, and you just kind of think, what would I would have wanted when I was growing up? It's
mad, because when you say that, that's kind of how it started for me. Like, obviously, yes, I'm a boy, so it's a little bit different. There's probably more clubs around for me and stuff like that. Look, I didn't play for a club until I was 30, and that was all off my own back. And I had to catch train to places, meet people and do it all off my own. So when I got to a kind of age where I started to coach, it was what did I need when I was a kid, and what can I deliver to the kids now that they might need, because they might be in that same predicament, jumping on trains and everything all by themselves, not really having that parental backing or things they need, and that's something that I had to I wanted to give. Look, when I used to coach, I used to take kids to trials left, right and centre. I'd jump in my car, travel all over the place just to help them out, because I knew that's what they needed. So I completely understand what you mean about going in blind and thinking,
I had a really good parental backing. Like my dad was like taking me everywhere, basically, and he was like my best friend, just like with me for my whole footballing time. But a lot of kids don't even have that.
I mean, even if you look back to when I was playing, I was playing in the 90s, and there wasn't really, you couldn't find a female club. When I was young, I was coaching, I was training, I was playing, I was matches with the boys. I didn't have where you've had a little bit of that experience,
Yeah,
where you've
yeah,
actually had youth girls.
Yeah.
I never had that.
Do you think that made you a better player?
To some extent, yes.
Playing with boys does.
It does,
I think it
because
does.
it just gives you more resilience, I think, sometimes. And I'm not saying that there isn't females that haven't gone through that doesn't have that, because there is.
Yeah.
But me, on a personal level, it gave me more resilience, and because most of my football was when I was a youth, or all of my football when I was a youth, was just with boys. I played in boys teams.
So kind of playing with them boys, do you think they hold back with you at all? Or do you think
Do you know what I think? I think at first they do.
At first they do.
Until you megs them.
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep quiet about being Megs, yeah, because today...
Well, until you give them that tackle
Keep it
that they
quiet.
weren't expecting.
It's a big one.
Because I remember when I was young, I started off in defence and I moved my way up. That's what happened.
Hmm.
And by the time I was in the women's game, I was a winger and up front.
Yeah,
so it's
yeah.
different. But when I was playing with the boys and when I was in the youth, I was a defender. So,
Big one.
bam, gone. And
Yeah,
then they're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm not gonna mess with her again.
Yeah,
Do
exactly.
you think it was in defence because you was with the boys, though? Do you think it was a case of...
No. I think that's just where I started.
Yeah.
I started in defence, and then as I grew older, I moved into that. So even by the time I was like 11, I was coming into that midfield kind of stage.
Yeah.
So it's not that I haven't experienced some of that with the boys as well.
Is that what you ended your career as a midfielder?
So when I
I was
went,
going to say as an 11.
Realised it wasn't for me anymore. Peter Pan, don't grow up!
I never go up. No, I when I was in the ladies' game, I was winger up front.
Okay.
So that was mainly my.
When we say up front, yeah, what are we saying? Target woman, or are we saying?
Oh, I
are we
was
saying,
bagging
are we
goals.
Ronaldo?
I was
Nippy
bagging
in behind.
goals. I was bagging goals.
Fairs. So with you, because obviously you're A for B coach, am I correct?
Yes.
Have you ever gone into the female game? Or has it always been the men's game?
I mean, I've coached females and I've coached, 16 teenagers that are in the girls. As for a team, I haven't coached a girls team, but I have actually coached girls and I've coached boys. So I've seen that side of it, but it's just I've never had a girls team. That's the difference.
And what about yourself, coaching wise? Where are you at?
I feel like I've done it all at this point. Well, I haven't actually done it all, but I've had a girls team, I've had a boys team. My first team was a under 14s boys team. Then I had an under 16s boys team. Then I was doing the girls, the 16 to 19 girls, alongside men. So I did men for a bit, and then now I'm back to 16 to 19 girls.
I think also with it is everything that you do is going to give you your experience, and people just get it different ways. So I've been coaching for about 10 years now.
Okay.
And I've coached from 5 to 16-year-olds, mainly boys, but girls as well.
Yeah.
I've coached boys teams, youth teams.
Yeah.
And then I've done, for the last 3 seasons, I've coached men's senior teams. So I've had a lot of experiences that are going to guide me in different ways. And even if I haven't had maybe that female team, I've still coached females and got that experience. And I think it's good to have a little bit of everything. I'm not saying you have to do every single team, but if you can actually go out there and coach a variety. So I've literally covered all the age groups in my 10 years.
What I want to say is for everyone, I'm sure you probably agree, 10 years is very new to coaching. It's very... So you're such a young coach still, essentially. People see here 10 years and they think, look, that's a long time, but it's not. It's very, very young.
It gives you that time to cover all the ages, basically.
Yeah.
But then actually coaching.
In the coaching world, like being a coach, even in a backroom team, in a men's team, and being under the age of 35, you're considered young. Yeah. And you would have had 10 years experience by now, and you're still going to be considered an early coach. Basically.
Do you know what though? On that flip side of things is like I think you say it as well. It doesn't matter if you've coached for one day or if you've coached for 10 years. If you've got it, you've got it. Like sometimes you see a coach that's been in the game for like 30 years and they haven't.
Talking nonsense.
That's
what you wanted to say.
Let's be real. Sometimes you get a coach who's been there for 30 years and they haven't caught up with what the game's like now, or they don't go back into education and they don't try to refresh because they've been doing it for so long. They're stale or they're set in their ways. Where sometimes you get a coach like Lucia, yourself have been, you've been so diverse. You've been in the men's, you've been in the women's, you've done a bit of this, you've done a bit of that. You know, you nurture, and I think that's the best thing about coaching is you should always be learning. Where some coaches get to a certain point, they get to the UEFA A or their pro license, and they go, "Well, I don't need no one to listen now."
Do you know? I think that there are. I think now a lot of jobs that you go for require badges. Whereas, let's say, like 20 years ago,
They didn't,
it's
yeah.
just about who you know.
Yeah,
now
or
we know
experience,
it's
yeah.
a combination of the two now. You need the
yeah.
badges
Yeah,
and you need to
it's
know
a bit of
people.
both.
Yeah, whereas before, you just need to know people. So I'm sure we all know someone that's been coaching for 20 years and are probably in non-league somewhere and doesn't have a
hasn't
level
got
one.
a badge, yeah.
It doesn't have a level
Well,
one.
it's the same when I was going for jobs and stuff like that. You needed UEFA B. I'm now UEFA B, and then you look at the jobs coming up now. You're like, they need UEFA A. It's
Yeah,
constantly
there's so
a battle.
many, yeah.
It's like,
This is what I'm saying.
how do you get involved? So
Yeah.
now we're talking about badges. Talk to me about, obviously, we'll start with you again, Lucia. On your level one, kind of, was there many females about on your level ones?
Yeah, so I did my level 1 in 2010,
Yeah.
the end of 2010, and I was the only female.
Okay.
And then I did my level 2 2016,
Yeah.
and I was the only female.
Okay.
And then I started my UEFA B course 2018, and there was me and another female, so 2 females overall. And then what, average 25 in a
Yeah. So like
around
20,
there,
25.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I haven't experienced much of that.
Okay.
The first time we experienced another female in a football environment like that was on my B license,
Yeah.
because there was one other girl there. And I actually thought, come walking into that course when I first walked in, that I was going to see more. Like in my, because obviously you don't know who's going to.
When did you do your UEFA B?
So I started in 2018.
2018. So was that the new style?
Yes.
UEFA B?
Yes.
And yeah, so you would have thought there would have been more females
exactly.
involved in it.
And I think maybe part of it is obviously because there's female only courses now, so maybe a lot of them got onto that one. Maybe, I'm not sure.
Is there female only UEFA Bs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there?
Yeah.
So I'm not going to lie to you, I don't know about it.
I didn't even know that.
There probably is, to be fair,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that's the route they're going down.
Yeah.
And
So
we will get into
I
kind
think
of
it's one of those.
what you think about that, because I've got my own opinions.
But hold on, if they've got sorry, I'm just off subject now, yeah. But if they're going to do female only UEFA Bs, I'd be very surprised if they can get 20 coaches.
I bet they can though.
They probably out there somewhere, but I'd be, because obviously on UEFA
yeah,
B it's
but what
about
they'll
20 of
probably
you,
do
isn't
is
it?
I think with that course they might just bring them all to one location.
So
So
they-
they'll come from
yeah, from everywhere. Yeah, that's probably what they'll do. Yeah, that's
It'll
true.
be St George's.
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere like that.
And there'll be a lot of females fast tracked into.
Yeah, that's
the
true.
B.
Yeah, it's true.
We've seen it in the
The
Melbourne.
thing is,
Yeah.
you know how many times, no word of a lie, how many times before I applied for my B, because I had a target of, I want to try and get into my B, people try to say, oh, why don't you just go apply for the female only one? Why don't you go apply for the female only one? Not once did I. Because
Why?
I did not want to be in that environment.
Why? Why not?
I wanted to be in an environment that I wanted to be in, not
Yeah.
one that I was being told to be in, for one. And also, that stuff doesn't bother me. So where I want to be in an environment where I can have a variety, have a bit of a diversity, I'm going to be there where it's mixed. So I was hoping in my course, I'm glad that there wasn't a female on there, but I was hoping, there might be 3 or 4 females on this course, and then there's going to be males, and I can go and talk and gain things from all of them in different environments, different mindsets. And I know and I feel confident, football is one of the places that I feel fairly confident in.
Yeah.
Where when I was younger, or when it comes to other environments, I could be quite shy. But when you're talking about football, I'm all for it. I'm confident.
So
I'm
do
there.
you think them courses help? To be honest, because if you've got a female in your course and there's a load of females in the room, and some of them are shy, some of them haven't worked in say they're on the express course, so they're being pushed forward and maybe haven't got that experience behind them, and they're involved. Do you think that actually helped you learn more, or do you think you learn less?
I think there's pros and cons.
There's pros and cons.
Yeah, I think there's good. It's good if, like you're saying, you're a little bit shy.
Yeah.
You might feel more comfortable saying stuff in front of other women in case you're wrong, because you feel less judged, and you feel like a woman's not gonna. You've got room to fail, if that makes sense, or room to make a mistake.
Well, it doesn't matter if you're a UEFA B though.
No, I mean in front of. You're right. I agree with you. But women just feel comfortable around other women. It's like going to a female-only gym. Do you know what
Yeah,
I
I was
mean?
going
So,
to
yeah.
mention, but the thing is, like, if you've done level 1, okay, I can understand if that's the first time you're doing it, and you were saying, oh, you don't
Yeah,
do
but
it.
like a level 1,
I'd agree.
I can understand maybe
I
a little
reckon
bit more.
at a certain point you should
but
just stop and
yeah.
say, look, once you get past your level 2, not in a horrible way, but we don't hold your hand anymore. If you want to go and progress, you want to do it. And let's be like, this is not me being rude to either of you, but it is a male-dominated game.
Yeah.
Go
No,
and go and prove
Show
you're
them,
better.
yeah.
Go and show you're
Yeah.
better, because it's vice versa. You know, sometimes men are better than women at some things that people think that, you know, like hairdressers. Most of the best hairdressers are men.
But
It's a female-dominated thing.
Yeah, true.
Yeah? And I'm not saying that like Emma Hayes, you were saying the other day, she's probably one of the best coaches in the world, but she hasn't gone to men's, but she's one of the best coaches in the world, we know she is.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you, because I think that UEFA, going on the UEFA B course, and it's a women's only course, or any women's only course it's a fake environment.
That's
basically,
it.
because you're going to step out into the world and you're going to get a whole load of men. So you're not going to get that sugar-coated feeling like how you might do on a women's only course. But I understand
at the same time,
why they would do it.
Yeah, at the same time, really and truly, when it comes to football, if football and coaching is something you want to be doing, that's an environment you can't really be shy in.
Yeah, you can't afford to.
If you're shy as a person, it's completely different. Like I said, I'm not shy as a person anymore.
Yeah,
But I'm not shy as a person anymore. But when I was young, as in like when I was a teenager, I was shy. But when I was on that football pitch, I was not shy.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is if football, or if whatever talent or things that you have a passion for, you don't tend to be shy about that thing that you're passionate for.
Yeah.
So if you're a confident person, I would advise you to go to those
Football's so opinionated though. So I know you just said about
Exactly.
being shy and maybe being scared to be wrong. Look, I'm wrong all the time. I would
Really?
I'm so wrong.
Really? You see him when he's coaching, he's never wrong.
But you need to accept that it's not wrong, it's a difference of opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no such thing as someone being wrong. You can't be wrong. You've got a way of doing things, and your way will be completely different to my way, as will be different to your way, as will be different to your way. And it's kind of learning to embrace that. Do you reckon you learn to embrace that if you're put in situations where everyone is shy to speak out?
I don't think that you do, but I also think like as women, we might, a little bit of us might need to get out of our own way, if that makes sense. So I think that you feel supported by other women, so women will gravitate to other women, if that makes sense, in the footballing world. But really and truly, like if we're actually going to go anywhere in this footballing world, we need the support from men as well.
But do you think that's the selection process then? Do you think it needs to be a bit, instead of just accepting the first kind of a load of male, do you think there needs to be I think you said it earlier, a divide of, look, if there's going to be 20 on a course, there's 10 spaces for men, 10 spaces for female now.
Yeah.
I mean,
as it's applied past a certain point, if there's not enough females, then you can top
Then
it
you
up.
put them in.
with
Yeah,
But
I think because at the end of the day, when it comes to a course, you are there to learn, to develop your coaching. And me, I'm a person that, if people that know me, I always go by the saying that some of the great things come out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to put yourself into an environment that might not be fully comfortable with. And that's not a bad thing, because that's the way that you can develop better.
Oh, yeah.
And if you go to a course and you're not sure about what you're going to say, or you're not sure about your opinion, or you're not sure if the route that you're thinking, that's what it's there for. You should be able to voice your opinion in that course environment, because it is a learning environment, and that is where people are going to challenge you, which you're going to get in the environment anyway. You're going to get challenged all the time in football, regardless if you're male or female, because people have different opinions. So you may as well go out there, say your point, and if someone's going to challenge you on it, it either helps you change your mindset to what you thought, or you think, hang on a minute, no, I do feel I'm right, so this is what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
So I think everyone should have their opinion in the courses, because that's what they're there for. They're there for you to have those discussions. It's a place for you to have those discussions and develop. So go out there and say your piece, whether you think it's 100% or not. Someone will either help you adapt to that, and it will evolve and become bigger, or they'll say, hang on a minute, well, how about if you look at it this way? And you'll be like, oh yeah, all right, well, yeah, you can see that side.
I personally don't think there should be women, like this is going to sound bad, but I don't think there should be women only conferences, because no matter where you go in football, there's going to be men.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
Every
and this is,
environment has
again, I'm very glad you guys didn't take it the wrong way. Like, women mixing with women, fantastic, but at the same time, because all you're sort of doing is cuddling.
That's
It's
what
like
I
having-
think.
It's like
yeah.
having a child and saying like, look, I've got kids, right? And if something happens to my child, I'm going to go nuts. But at the same time, I don't cuddle them. I don't go, look, you should never go there again. So the idea,
Wrapping yourself up in
yeah,
cotton wool,
Do you think it's
basically.
creating
Hang around with
creating more of a divide having female only? Because
I think
you're putting
it
them
kind
into
of
their own
is.
bubble, whereas actually you want them integrate. You want
Yeah,
them
I think
together.
as women, we have similar experiences. This is why
Yeah.
me and Lucia have come together, because
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
having a similar experiences. But I'll be honest, I don't need 20 versions of Lucia. I don't need
Yeah,
like...
yeah.
You don't handle 20 versions.
Right, you said earlier on you were like,
Handle one.
I said that earlier.
yeah, these two were like, I want to find more of us. They're like, no, we are individuals.
No,
We're
I just
doing
think
this
that
ourselves.
like, I know this is happening to me. Lucia knows what's happening to her. If I sit in a room of 20 people, it's going to become a bit of a moan fest, basically.
Yeah.
But then if you put you with like I said, the selection process being 10 and 10, you guys opening up about how it is and how it feels to them 10, it's the power of 10. Them 10 people then go
Yeah,
speak to
but the
someone
thing
else and
is
speak to
that like
someone
if we,
else and-
if like you're saying, see if it was 10-10,
Yeah.
now there's 10 women letting other 10 men know what we're going
Exactly.
through, basically.
Yeah.
Whereas sitting in a room of 20 women,
They're
let's
all
say,
telling the same
these
story.
men don't
They're
know
not
what's
seeing,
going on.
yeah.
They're only
Yeah.
talking to each
A little
other.
bit like a mother's
I think a
It is,
good
yeah.
thing. I think if a good thing that I think could come from it is that there should be CPDs for women. Female-only CPDs would become very beneficial,
Yeah.
so they can have that time
And
it's
figure out, problem
figure
solve,
out,
basically.
and then
Yeah,
they've
yeah.
got that option. Or if I do want to go and have a female-only thing, I've got that, and they can even play it alongside their courses if they really need to, so they can go and do the course and go back to that as a place to do that.
No, I thought that
But
makes sense.
when it comes into actual course, I think it should be encouraged to be as mixed as possible. And would you get 10 out of 10 women and 10 male right now? I don't think so.
No,
I
but
don't
what,
know,
what
yeah.
my
However,
idea was,
I would love the idea of that
Yeah, I
happening.
would love
what
it.
my idea was
But
like,
there should be a bit more of more females in the courses.
what my idea was before we move on was like, you say right, so you say like, right, courses in September, you have 10 male and 10 female, and that you state it, say like, this course is a mixed course, we have 10 spaces, and then a couple of, like a month before the course starts, let's just say they've only got 5 women and 10 men, or they've got 3 women or 2 women or whatever, they'll message the women and go, right, this course still has XYZ women left. Do you feel comfortable, because again, it's about comfortable, sorry, it feels about being comfortable. Do you feel comfortable going on it with more men than women? If the woman says no, fine, but then no woman should look at that, she go, yeah, fine. But then they'll just say, look, because the women's spaces are still free, can we give them to anyone else that wants them? Because we've got an overload. And then they go, yeah, you're still going into a male, but at the same time, it's an option of saying it is equality, we've given you the opportunities, but there is still free spaces, we'd like to give them out. And then if you don't want to be on this course, we can mix you together with another course that starts in October where there's another 5 women, and it'll be 10 and 10 no matter what. So that's my idea, but
The only thing that I can think of that maybe we haven't experienced that other women might have is there might be other women that have been made to feel away on mixed courses,
Yeah.
and that's why they want a female
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
Now, that's something that I haven't experienced.
yeah,
you know what I mean?
okay.
But saying
Yeah,
that
okay.
it could be you've had a bad experience from a mixed course,
Yeah.
and now you want to be with just
Exactly.
women,
I
basically.
think-
So it could be that, I don't know.
I think that does actually happen because
It probably does,
I
yeah.
think I've had a female speak to me about that before, very briefly.
that
So
doesn't
I
happen.
don't think it doesn't happen. So like I said, I do get it, and I think that's why I think. But unfortunately, that shouldn't make the female.
But this is
want
what I
to
mean.
Stop. So
It's
that's what
like-
I'm saying. The CPD might be good for that
Yeah.
because then they can still go there, and if there is anything happening, then they can address it
Yeah.
to the people that they need to address it to.
Yeah.
And then that doesn't stop females from being.
This is what I
on
mean.
those
Instead of
mixed courses.
addressing whatever issue happened, you've just created a female-only course.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think it still creates that divide, doesn't it? It's
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
This is the females and this is the males.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then when you've got, but if you've only done a female-only course and you've only got obviously everyone's experiences that have happened, if you are a female that wants to work in the males game, which there are a lot coming up now,
Yeah.
then
Got 2 seats in front of
you've
you,
not,
bro.
you've not heard the experience of men and what their views will be. Look, you're gonna go into it. It's gonna
Yeah.
happen.
You might as well get an
far,
idea of
exactly.
the
We're so
course.
far away from where
Exactly.
it's so equal at the moment. Yes, everyone's saying we need equality. I 100% agree. But we're so far away from it right now that if you are singling because you're a little bit shy, then maybe that men's game you're thinking about going to at this moment in time probably isn't
For you.
the direction to go in.
Yeah.
And you could probably speak better on it because obviously you're doing it at the moment. Like different kind of males have different views and different ways of doing it. I'm very doubtful players have a little bit of a perception of a female and go, look, a female can't tell me how to do X, Y, Z. But there are people out there, and there are some players out there.
I mean, I haven't experienced it.
Yeah.
I mean, players that I have come across should see me as a coach, as
100%,
another coach.
100%.
So it's not really the players that I would get it from, and it's a bit of a not that it should happen regardless, but the fact that you're getting it from other coaches and other managers. And so they've been on them courses, some of them, and they're acting like that towards other female coaches. That's why I think it's even more of a push that they should see females in that courses environment, because then when they see that, oh, you know, there is a female in this course and they can coach and they know, and you know, they're up to develop and learn, then that should start being out there a bit more.
Do you know what's funny about what you just said? Any player that I do know, because same as Lucia, I haven't personally had any issues with players, but any people that I do know that play football that have a funny feeling about being told something as a female coach, basically, they don't play at a high level of football.
It's not professional. As far
So I
as
just
it's
think,
not professional.
Like, just sit down.
You need to, unfortunately, as a player, you need to understand that if there is a female involved in a certain position, that's been thoroughly put through the process by the club, and they're obviously of a status that the club's happy to have. So therefore, as a professional playing the game, you need to understand what they say goes, and
This
it is what it is.
This is
and I agree.
I think
probably
sometimes
So when you get wayward opinions and they think to themselves, I wouldn't be having a female
You can't keep ball.
coaching me. I think to myself, all right, cool, but you play Sunday league, so I don't actually care. Do you know what I mean?
There's egos,
Big
a lot of
time.
egos involved that doesn't need to be.
But you know what? I get the same in the men's game. Obviously, I do media, I do photography, I coach at a level.
Sorry, Brownie.
I mean, this is my equality. I've obviously coached.
Welcome to the brownie show.
But I feel that like when I've been there, and I can see your view because I've been there, and I've been like, people have gone, oh well, you're just a cameraman, or like, or like, I never played at a high level, and people go, well, you never played at my level, and I go, I don't need to play at your level to know. That's it. And
Trust me.
I don't need to be your, and that's how I feel like you go. You don't need to play at their level to be better than them, because it's pig-headedness. It's sort of like brushing it off.
I think that's also what it is, because already you feel as a female, but it could be on a general basis as well. Sometimes I feel, oh, you need to show something. You know, you have to be a baller to be a good female coach. And I mean, I've still got some tech, but
Wow,
no. I do.
Challenge. Let's see on the challenge. Let's see on the challenge. Let's challenge.
No, it's a being able to coach and being to play. Yes, sometimes playing or having some experience of playing, of course, you can bring some stuff that's relatable. But it's more about when you were playing.
There's on a roll there. To be fair, your last bit I was about to say, that's the podcast there. To be fair. When you was on a roll before and Brownie butted in.
I thought you were going to speak about the Emma Hayes stuff.
I was about to say, boy, I was going to chat about Emma Hayes, but you don't need to.
No,
I've got someone else that you. Throw a curve out there.
I didn't mean to butt it. For anyone else listening on the pod, if I don't cut it, literally.
No, but
Shush, but. Why is this guy getting so big-headed?
no, do you know what? Everyone at the moment is talking about Emma Hayes. Let's talk about Mary Phillips. Obviously, she's a
doing the madness at Peckham Town.
That's what I'm saying. Like, no one's talking about it. Everyone's now focused on Emma Hayes and obviously going in. She's capped like £65 by England. She's no little baller. She's done her thing. Do you reckon? Why has she had to go to Peckham Town?
Because the women's game is not respected. That's what it is. Like, similar to like the Emma Hayes thing, is that the reason why Mary Phillips has done all of this stuff, but she's got a start at Peckham basically, is because people still believe that England women's are not a good standard of football.
I don't care about. She's international. She played World Cup.
As far as I'm concerned, the thing is, the way I see it is that England women's are probably going to win the World Cup for the men's will.
Trust me. Trust me.
So they probably will. So
I think what it is as well is that they think just because it's a female game, it's an easier game. And when it comes to coaching, and you're actually thinking about coaching a football, the actual fundamentals are the same.
Yeah.
So therefore, it doesn't matter in that sense that, you know, if you're coaching females or you're coaching males, the actual coaching fundamentals is the same.
Well, being in the men's game, especially like we talk about Merritt Phillips, I'm sure she gets the right people around her. Like,
That's so important.
You know the right people. Like I'm not the best at everything. I'm sure you'd agree. You're not the best at everything.
Yeah.
It's getting people like the bits you're not good at. Get someone that is
Do you
good
know,
at.
I mean,
to
look
come
at
in.
what Fergie did. Like, I know, like, I love being around coaches that are better than me.
Trust me.
Like, so if I was to go into a first team manager's team, like role now, sorry, in a men's team,
Yeah.
I'm getting coaches that are UEFA B, UEFA
Yeah,
A, like,
yeah.
that are better than
Around
me.
you.
Yeah, so that not only can I learn, fantastic experience for the players.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But it's, if what's the point of me going and getting a coaching team that's like level 1? Like, they're just all below me.
Do you know what it is?
I think that's an ego thing because you want to be
yes.
the best.
Exactly that. I think that could be a reason why females struggle to get into that because I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they're not very egotistical. You're not very egotistical.
Not
so
really.
like you'll accept things quicker than them. Like
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
will go,
that's true.
Nah, I can't have him because he knows.
I think
If bring it back to that disrespect thing, like what type of things like that needs to change? Obviously, higher respect. But what other things need to change? Because obviously, the other day on the pod, I said like women need better coverage as well.
Yeah.
Like-
I think we need better coverage. I think we need better coaches within the female side of the game. So like, I don't know about, obviously we're playing in different like generations basically, but I think that, I don't think that women or females get a good level of coaching until they're about 15 basically. And whereas boys are getting like A license 1-to-1s from like 4 basically. But like,
It's true. You've got to be an A license to get into them roles.
yeah,
now,
do you know what I mean? So like,
For
girls don't
boys.
really, you just kind of, when it comes to girls football, it's like they just chuck someone's dad.
Still got their
in there,
dads.
like,
Yeah,
do you
still
know
got
what I
their
mean?
dads.
It's just,
proper grassroots.
proper grassroots,
Like,
yeah, like someone's dad.
and they're trying to do the RTC, but this is another thing. Like I didn't have it written down, but like RTC for female, they're trying to mimic similarity to the boys academy. Do you think it needs to be similar? Or do you think it's a chance for the women's game to create their own academy system and do it the way they see
True, yeah,
better?
yeah, true,
better.
yeah.
Why are you copying something that?
Yeah, that's
yes,
true.
works for them, but we need to accept that they are different games.
Yeah.
I'm not saying different levels. I'm saying they're different games.
Yeah.
One big football is
Yeah.
the overall.
Yeah.
But so do they have to copy that just because the men's done it and it's worked?
Yeah, I mean,
is it time for someone to go? Actually, this is our chance now to.
Well, this is it. I mean, look
regional
at
talent
what
centre.
Emma Hayes done. She's incorporated her players' monthly cycles into their training plans.
Massive.
Because she
Yeah.
noticed, I watched something one time that she noticed that they had one game where they were playing so badly and she couldn't figure out why because she's thinking she just couldn't get it, and then when she realised it was because they're all going through
the
it
same-
at that
same
time.
time. They can sync as well.
All
Yeah.
that
That's
stuff.
something I've tried to.
She goes, when is your cycle? Sorry, you can't be in my cycle.
Yeah, she might think, oh, you might not perform well around this time. Do you know what I mean? So she's
Yeah.
incorporating into their training plans. Now, there's nothing saying that a man
Cole's
can't
on
do
it now.
that.
No,
There's nothing
I-
saying that a man can't do that, but I think it's interesting.
I've
Those are
started
the
to
kind
do
of things
that.
that
I
are
started to
different.
do that with my physio. It's different, and we discussed that. Is like it is difficult for men to address that with young females. Maybe when the females are a little bit older, it's maybe a little bit easier. But for young females who maybe are under 18s, for example, it's difficult for us to approach that. A lot of them don't want to tell you when they're on that time and what's going on. I think there needs to be more CPDs for males in the female games and around
To understand
the
that
cycle.
side, yeah.
100% that needs to happen because it does affect things. Now, it doesn't mean you won't get selected because you're on your cycle. Because all you have
So it
is
doesn't
failure.
understand
Understand what
Yeah,
they're
but you
going through, and
understand.
Exactly
even
that.
on their hormones and just how they're gonna be towards mentally as
Yeah,
well.
exactly
Because you know you might have to actually coach and manage that in the right way because you don't know. You could say something knowing that they're going through their cycle, and you say something that is not even that.
And the thing is
that
that
it will just switch something.
I think different females react differently during that
Exactly,
time.
yeah.
So like some females cruise through that 5-6 days.
Yeah.
And some females are like hell on earth. So
Yeah.
you need to basically know
Understand your players.
understand your players,
100%.
And even that, think about it, understanding your players is a skill you should have full stop.
Yeah,
I think
understand
earlier-
your players as a coach is crucial.
Yeah, that's
I heard
like
you guys talking
paramount.
earlier, and you said that some coaches, particularly male ones, run away from that.
Yeah, they do.
Obviously, Cole was like, I don't, but
No, but I get, okay, so for example, I've been in situations where I'm running a session, I might not be leading this session, so I might, an assistant coach or someone might be leading that session, and I'm just literally just stood there watching the players, So a player will come up to me and say to me, "Oh, Sian, do you mind if I just pop off to the toilet because I need to change and whatever." And I'm like, "Yeah, cool, like no worries, just go." But I do think to myself, why don't you ask him?
But that's it.
That's one of them awkward things because the man would be like, "Change what?" And then it's
or a man will just say, "Yeah, go." Do you know what I mean? No questions
that's
asked.
it though. And when I think about it now, and I'm looking back at my sessions, you as a male coach, you don't really get young females come to you and say, "I need to go to the toilet for that." That issue. Why? That needs to change. So we need to create some sort of barrier.
Yeah, because they just think that you don't understand.
Do you know what? I'll be real. A lot of men won't understand, but it's something you can't deny you of. Like, you shouldn't be judgmental of it. Like,
of course.
Like we
just like
we
the same
play
way
white
we
shorts.
want.
I can't play in white
And the thing
shorts.
is that, I don't know about you, but like I know, like at Millwall, we've had that issue
White
where,
shorts?
like, because obviously we play in white shorts, and when it's that time, girls will just say to each other like, "Oh, this is annoying."
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you don't bring another pair of shorts.
No, of course.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like, or like if it's summer, let's say, and you're not wearing skins, you're stressed. So you're just stressed for the whole game.
You're like, the ball's coming in. No,
Yeah,
wait,
you're
no,
just
no,
stressed.
let's not jump. No.
That's
That's not a factor that you want to be thinking.
But that's something that we as coaches, especially if we're men and we want to coach in the female game, need to understand. It's not a choice of, I can ignore that bit and I'll let someone else. No, you need to understand it.
Yeah, you do.
That's how you understand your players.
players.
And if you're not willing to take that on, like some will have daughters, so they've got a slight understanding. Some won't, and the ones that don't, if you're a young coach coming up and you've decided that the female game is your game, then you kind of need to take that on board. And
It just needs to
do a little bit of research.
just the same way that we speak about it should be comfortable just to see a female walking into a male dominant coaching. It should be comfortable for a female to go and talk to a male in that environment if they needed to. And I think the only way that's going to start happening is if we start breaking those barriers. And the only way you're going to start breaking those barriers is by talking about it, is by having, whether it be CPDs or having discussions,
uncomfortable conversations.
Just have those
uncomfortable conversations.
Yeah, that's it.
Like someone's going to get it wrong eventually, and we're going to have to learn from it. But do you know what? The person who gets it wrong should get the most kudos because they're the ones who took the risk.
They were brave enough to do it. I mean, I know that I've had like experiences where when you're with boys, let's say, and they go from like under 14s to under 15s or something, and over that summer where they're not kicking ball, they've come back and they're mad tall, or like they've had like some kind of growth spurt, basically voice was dropped or whatever, and they're dead now. They were ballers last season,
but they don't have control of their body.
So because they're just not in control of their body right now, there's a lot going on. So when it comes to under 15s, you're thinking, what the hell happened to you over the summer? We have to understand it. As coaches, we have to think like I don't know. I stopped growing when I was like 15, so do you know what I mean? But like these boys are just like sprouting up over the summer, and you think that their bodies are changing.
Same with the female,
getting
and it happens monthly with cycle because as much as we don't, I know we're touching on it, but things change. Some get bloated, and that could affect their performance. It could affect the way they see. You don't know what's happening if it's a young player and they might be being looked at by a club, and a club goes in and it goes, she's a bit too big for me at the moment, and it happens. Much as you might not want to say it, like
it's true.
They'll look at it and they'll go, but that could be the fact she's some time in a month and she's more bloated than she usually is.
She usually would be.
But before saying that player's a little bit bloated, they're probably just looking and going, not for me. But that's something. So kind of we need to look into it a little bit more, especially if teams are looking at younger players now. Is you can't just watch them the one time, because in the boys' game, let's be real, I've scouted. I used to scout at Brentford, and I used to be able to go to a game 15 minutes. You'll be able to tell if players.
You can,
so you can dash off.
You can go,
But in the women's game, you have to look at it. And maybe it's today's not their day, but I've got to come back.
Yeah, you might have to.
You might have to go 4-5 times.
And if they're setting up,
or if you know that if they know that that is their time of the month, then just schedule it before they come, because that's a.
But that's a conversation they don't have. Because the scouting system isn't massive in the women's game yet. It's there. Like, I'll be real, I can't name scouts in the women's game.
I know I met one time, but I couldn't tell you who was scouting.
But there you go.
I just
You've
know he was a scout.
One time.
Whereas
if you talk about the male game, you get a scout every other weekend coming around and trying to figure out who's who. You know, and like, so there's so much that can grow in that kind of the women's aspect of making sure that if you're going to scout a player, first of all, the clubs need to do more to understand the cycles. So if it's a monthly or weekly questionnaire that goes out to a player so they can figure out what's going on and when their cycle starts and when it stops, because some will have longer, some will have shorter. And it's understanding when they're on, and some months will be longer for some and some months will be shorter.
And I think if I was a female and I was like 16, 17, and a coach gave me that, like a questionnaire, and on there, or like, you know, like when you go to apply or trial and say, what position do you play, blah blah.
Are you on your cycle?
If it
has
said,
on there,
are you on your cycle? How long is your cycle? What dates do you have your cycle? Do you get paid?
You'd
blah,
feel
blah.
more comfortable
I'd be like, this club's alright, you know. Do you know what I mean?
Before
Like,
you've even gone, you don't know no one.
this is good. Like,
And
I'd be
then also
impressed.
know, because it's on the
They
form,
care, they're thinking about it.
They're
they
thinking
think about
about
it, and you might feel more comfortable to actually talk about it if something
Yeah, yeah,
happens
yeah.
regarding it.
Yeah, 100%.
Note to self, go back to club, correct?
Anne's going to be listening to this, and his surveys are going to change.
Older, like even when you get older,
Yeah, it doesn't
you become an
matter when,
adult.
yeah.
Because you know, in the female environment, not really so much in men's, but in women, you know how much like you get a big mixture of straight and gay females, yeah. So you'll get gay females having one kind of journey, and you get straight females, some are trying for kids, all that kind of stuff. So when you have those situations, it's like, how do you know that I'm not stressed because I've been trying to have a child for the last 6 months and I can't conceive? Stuff like that. It's all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Another thing that I wanted to talk about is like Emma Hayes has got, Chelsea built her a creche, didn't they?
Yeah,
Where, like, again, you know, females, they had kids and they had the stronger bond. Let's just say if you guys got older or had kids, and then a club couldn't help you with any of your childcare. Because again, a lot of females in the game are still playing, and then they've got childcare issues. So should clubs look at sort of helping in the women's game for
Do you know what's so crazy about that? Is that like the first thing that came to my head when you said that, is that we don't have these issues in the men's game because men are earning so much. They don't have to worry about childcare. They don't have to worry about childcare. So look at the madness we're having to go through now, basically.
Do you not think that's another good thing to add into the
I do. I think it would be like, if
You know, and if they can't,
it'd
then
be
they should be being able to have enough money to not have to worry about that.
that's what I'm trying to say.
Do you know what? We all know that
I'm not saying they have to be at the same level, because
the game's slowly progressing, and I'm sure eventually it will be about 20, 30 years.
Oh, it's going to be a long. It's going to be a while.
Yeah, I highly doubt that men's players have creches.
No, they don't need them. But
They don't need them.
To be real, they don't. Their other half sometimes need to work. The amount they're on, $100,000 a week.
They don't need to work.
I know one or two PAs.
And even if they
clubs.
did want to work, they have enough to hire their own.
I also know one or two PAs that work at clubs, and they say on a match day, if a certain family come in and a certain amount of kids come in, one of the PAs will say like, right, this room today is set up for the kids. We're going to have 3 members of staff in here to look after them for you.
So you can go and chill.
And then the other women can go and hang out with each other, or they say, look, like it is a creche sort of on a match day.
That's good.
I'm talking about like in general, like if women want to play football and they're really good, and they do, you know, women will decide to have families, and then they still come back. Should they say, right, well, the club should create some sort of area where they're like, right, it's a creche for you. When you are training all day long and you become a full-time professional, you can bring your child here, live with us today, and then when you're done with your training, pick up your child like it's a normal day at work.
Yeah, I like that. I think it's a good idea. In an ideal world, I would love for the father of my children to just take care of his kids, but while I'm at work. But obviously, if you can't do that, I think that's a sick idea.
That's something.
It would make you want to go to a club more, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That's something that needs to happen more. Is they need to obviously, I know that.
I'm patterning this.
You know, they obviously. You get 6 months up to a year off anyway from any work, and football's a job, especially if you've decided to go, especially women as well, so they're entitled to that. But let's be real, the competitiveness in the women sometimes don't want that 6 months, they want to get back as soon as they can. So having a creche and being able to go to the club and do your kind of rehab, because you have to rehab after pregnancy, to do your rehab at the club, still in and around the environment and around the women that you're playing with.
Still being able to be engaged with them all.
Exactly, and your kid as well at the same time, because the creche is there, so you can just pop in. Pop out, go do your
true,
thing.
and if anything happens, if my child decides he's going to run around like some idiot and run into a wall and bust
You're there, innit?
it's your child. No, my child, it will.
She's having a Greggy. She's having a Greggy.
Do you reckon that's where things slowly need to get to in the women's game then? Things like that allow players that are, that as you said, the straight ones that do want to have
children.
And even the gay ones that want to have children.
Yeah, exactly.
There's that crash environment that they know, because let's be real, in the women's game, they get to an age, they're like, don't I have kids? Because of my career, I've got to think about my career. And some of them are on alright money, some of them, not money that we're thinking men's game, but they're on,
right money,
they can live off like certain money, and they're like, oh, do I put my personal life on a back burner because I know it will affect me being able to come back, especially if they're kind of towards their later ends of the career. I know you were saying women can play to their 42, but if you're in the WSL Championship,
it's going to be a certain age.
You get to like the 28, 29, and you're like, oh, but if I have a kid now, I'm probably gonna not be able to come back to the level.
100%. I know, I've said for a few years now that ideally I wanted to like go and get my B license, stop playing football, and then have kids, basically. So I'm running out of time, but
TikTok.
but I think you do have to think about that in a football environment, especially because, like, I don't know about you, but actually any of you, to be fair, you must struggle to find holiday time, because as soon as the season stops, you're planning for pre-season. Do you know what I mean? So you've literally got like a month, maybe max, to go on holiday. I mean, like, I know, like, since I've been in the football environment full
what's
time.
a holiday? I've had kids.
Well, even worse. Do you know what I mean? Like, what's a holiday? Do you
I've got 3 little girls. What's a holiday?
This is what I mean. Yeah, that's even worse. I would love to go Jamaica for 3 weeks, let's say, but me, I've got to go little 2-3 days, slip off here and there, basically.
That's right, we're putting our contracts when we're in the pro club.
Need holiday.
I've seen a trick here. What's going on? Holidays? What are you?
This is what I'm trying to say. So, yeah.
But yeah, no, it's interesting. And anyone listening, you know, idea, take it, run with it, make it work.
No, it's patented, man.
Make it
The
work.
Unorthodox podcast has now patented this, and the four of us here will get 25%.
So you get nothing.
So you get nothing out of our idea.
You get nothing.
All right.
But yeah, no, let's thought about, because we spoke quite a bit about the women's game and obviously perception of the men. Let's go back into kind of you working in the men's game. How involved are you in like making decisions and stuff, especially at, say, Margaretbury?
Yes, at Margaretbury.
How involved are you in making that decisions?
Well, I think it's a new environment for me because I'm now in an environment where I have a management team.
Yeah.
Where before, when I was in the senior men's team that I was with, my Saturday team, it was me and only me on the sideline. So it makes it a little bit different. Yeah. So I've obviously, it is great that I've got to now experience more of a management team. Yeah. But it's also me now trying to adapt to that environment, and rather than me making all the decisions, I'm the coach, and I have a manager, an assistant coach, and another co-coach with me. So,
you listen to? That's what I'm saying. If you've got an opinion, and be real, because it's important. If you're
don't get us sacked.
It's important you've got an opinion, though. You know, to
no,
work
of course,
the way.
of course.
I think the question if you're media trained.
Wait, have you had your media training? when you get to, is it a UEFA or a pro license? You have to have media training as well.
Yeah,
I think you start doing it on your A.
Oh,
sorry, Sutton, innit?
No, not Sutton, Millwall.
No, trust me.
Millwall friends.
Yeah. But no, it's important because obviously, like for me with my coaching team, and I know it's the women's game and I've gone back to it, but they've all got an opinion. They can tell me. Look, I might not agree with it.
Yeah.
I can easily shut them down. But to be able to listen.
Tell me more about the shutting down. How does it happen?
I think it's different environment. When I was at Tooting with the men, like Lucia was saying, when you're a coach, your decision making kind of gets taken away from you because you're there to coach. But your opinion now
should be there.
Should be there. I mean, like when at Tooting, let's say, I never used to get involved in squad selection. That's got nothing to do with me. So like the managers would do that. But let's say during the first half, let's say, I might notice something during the game. I might notice, let's say, that like their left back is pony. I might say at half time, whisper in the manager's ear and say, listen, we need to target their left back because he's dead, basically. So I might notice something like that and it will get taken on board. However, if he doesn't take it on board, it's
But that's what it's about. Like I love people giving me opinions. I might not agree with them, I might not even take them, but I love to hear them. If someone's got ideas that might help me better than me.
We'll get on fine then because I've got loads of opinions.
The difference is, for you, Cole, is like you respect everyone's opinion. I get that, but like you're at the end of the day, you're in a job, and it's based on your choice.
Yeah.
So the three of us sitting here are all coaches, and we've all been at a level where we've all made the decisions, but also as well we've all sat in the back room and gone, yeah, we're giving these ideas, but we don't have to live by those choices because we're supporting them people. Like, again, I'm supporting
but
you.
It's important to have to know that you can voice your opinion without being.
I do.
Yeah. I think the problem is that if you're in an environment where you might just be there basically, but you don't really believe in this person's coaching philosophy, or you don't believe in the club's philosophy, then you're going to feel like your voice is drowned. Yeah. Because I don't like I've been like in situations, let's say, where I might think we spoke about this as well, about like you might think, right, going forward we're fantastic, but we're leaking 4 goals a game. Yeah. Now, if I voice that opinion to the first team manager and he doesn't listen to me, and then we continue to leak 4 goals for the next 6 games, I'm going to get annoyed. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm going to think, okay, cool, I'm not the first team manager, so I can't make this final decision. Yeah. But, like, are you a dunce? We are leaking 4 goals every week. Do you know what I mean? So, really, I think at this point, it's quite obvious that we should be doing something defensively. Do you know what I mean? So, at this point now, our philosophies are just clashing. Do you know what I mean? So, it's like, there are things that are obvious that you think, this is more than just an opinion now. This is like, this should be clear as day to you. Do you know what I mean? Then you're going to feel like, I wish I had more of a voice, or I wish I had more of an opinion because something's obvious. But if it's like, oh, I think we should just look at that. I think we should look at that. If you don't take it on board, you can respect that. But I think it's difficult if there's something blatant, do you know what I mean, in front of you that's not happening.
So again, we'll go back to St. Margaret's-Bury. I'm not going to get you in trouble, don't worry.
I'm going to send this to them, you know.
So you're UEFA B, so that's a great level. I'm UEFA B. It takes ages to get.
You see that they're ganging up on us.
But, what's this?
So what's the management structure like? So I'm guessing first team manager, assistant manager, coach, and you say co-coach as well. So you've got 2 coaches, assistant manager. So they set obviously the schedule of what they want you to run, and do they set you the actual drills, or do you have the drills that you run and you know of? And then you run
I think everybody has their strengths, like we spoke about before, and if you know where your strengths lie and you can use that into your environment, you're going to get the best outcome out of your management team. So where at the moment I might have inside of things, the qualification side may be the highest. There's going to be people in the management team where they're experienced in that league and things are going to be better because I'm not familiar with the league. So if you can pin all those bits together, I think that's where you get it. So when it comes to sessions and stuff, it's between me and the co-coach, and when it comes to lineups and
it's all them.
And it's all them. So the best way I think to get out of your teams and your management teams is to try and pick where everybody's strengths are and build it together.
But you and the co-coach get to kind of write it down, and then you present it to the assistant or
exactly.
And say, look, this is what we're looking at.
I mean, obviously the manager still has their input of what they want to work on. They're going to see things in the game and they're going to think, well, you know.
Would they just give you a topic, or would they? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to get.
So it's a bit of a variety, I'd say. I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, it's ultimately the manager's choice. If you win, it's the manager's choice. If you lose, it's down the manager. Exactly. So when there's things that the manager sees that they want to work on, they're going to say it. But when it actually comes to delivering the session, that's when the coaches will deliver it. So they will say topics. They'll say what they want to work on, but when it comes to actually planning the session and stuff, that's obviously where the qualifications of the coach will come in.
So what's your aspirations to further down the line? Where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? What do you want to happen?
Yeah, so what I want to happen is, if obviously I would get into my A license, I want to be working in a pro club. Okay. I want to be a manager of a, bring my managing and coaching things together, have a good team around me. Yep. And if I could ideally pick a kind of age or a group that I'd want to work with, it'd be like under 18s, under 23 men's. Yep. That would be my ideal. And then obviously if it gets into a senior first team, okay, great. But that would be my focus at first of where I want to hit to as my next target.
Would you go down the same route as Sian with the kind of post-16?
I mean, Yeah, I wouldn't. It's not that I'm saying that I definitely want that. I mean, they're my ideal places.
Yeah.
But in the senior game, I mean, in the male game, sorry, is where I want to focus on.
Yeah.
So whether it be post 16, under 18, reserves, things like that, but it needs to be at a level that my qualifications, I can start really bringing that in a bit more.
Yeah, no.
So that's why that's more the focus than exactly the pinpoint of the age group or phase that I'm working with. It's more about what I'm actually learning from all my experiences that I've gained and the qualifications that I'm learning. It's a combination of those both and bringing it into that environment so it can be used to its full effect.
And yourself, kind of, where do you see yourself growing? So you've done pretty well and a lot of people, like post-16s, you've been involved in 2 of them now, and you obviously progressing. Where do you see yourself in the next 10?
Yeah, post-16 I actually fell into, like, it was never it was never actually something that, like...
I think it happens for a reason.
I kind of just fell into it, and even then, I've never gone into a post-16 that was already running.
Yeah, but that's good, project management.
That's all I've done, it was the first post-16...
Stop planning ideas in the pool.
The first post-16 that I did for 2 years, we built it from the ground up, and then Sutton, same thing, started from scratch, built it from the ground up, so I've never actually gone into one that's already running. But I would like to eventually probably come away from the post-16s and under 18s pro club. I'd like to under 18s like academy.
Yeah, you never know.
If it was an all-female management team, no one can chat to me.
I've seen your tricks. When this happens, don't be congratulating me.
My phone, Sean. We went to school together. I don't want to hear it. I don't care.
Carl, don't be messaging them.
You know that. Well, we followed first.
Both of them don't follow you, innit?
No, you should follow me.
Well, maybe different by the end of today.
No, she's going to be bantering later. Listen, Carl, I see an L somewhere.
I think under 18s boys, or I'd like to do like a first team, like defence specialist role.
Love that. Do you know what? I think that's the way it's going, and I don't think there's enough happening right now. It does happen at the professional game, but I don't think it's happening enough kind of as you go down. It's specialised.
I've got a real thing for like the art of defending, basically. So I think
I think sometimes
it's earlier then. I got nothing.
That's your business. Shut your legs.
That's where it's going, and you said it. That is that plan alone will get you so far. You heard it here first. When John's employed in the defence specialist role,
don't bring my phone.
But there's so many attacking specialists. Look, you can run with what you've just said there. That's massive. Just stick on that.
I think because defence is so underrated sometimes.
It's so underrated.
Like we've had a full some of the discussions that me and Sean
had.
We
sat down at Lucia's house one time, for an hour talking about defending.
Alright, so
because it's not just because you're defending it doesn't mean that it's stopping you.
Quick fire question, because obviously Mourinho is a defensive coach, and then you've got the attacking coaches. What's more important, attacking or defending?
I think defending. If you don't concede, you don't lose.
So that's what wins you games. So you say
no, it's not what wins you games.
So would you say like the managers like Sam Allardyce who stay in the game for as long as possible and then nick the game?
Yeah, like a Burnley.
Or like someone Dyche who does that type of job, or would you rather have a manager that goes out there, plays sexy football but gets beat every week?
No, I'm not
that's basically attacking and defending.
So, I'm not getting beat every week.
I'm not gonna lie, the thing is, I think if you don't concede, you don't lose, But at the same time, like you can concede 4 and score 6 and still win the game.
Liverpool,
so it's a little bit, but I'm not gonna lie. I think I would rather win 1-0 than win 5-4.
And Jose Mourinho once said, "Do you know what? We might be boring if we won 1-0 every week.
They'd win the league.
We'd win the league."
Exactly.
It will be as boring as you like.
You know what? It's massive. I know of attacking specialist coaches. I don't know defensive specialist coaches. Me myself,
you got one right here.
I think. Do you know what? Because what I've tried to put into my teams, and anywhere that I've coached, is that when you're defending, that winning that 1v1, that emergency defending, that clearing the ball off the line needs to feel like a goal.
Yeah,
that's how good it needs to feel.
One of the things that I absolutely love, and some of my players will also come back me on this one, is not only that part that you've just said, but it's even stuff about getting yourself reorganised if you
Quickly.
lose the ball.
Yeah, the
It
transition
just,
period.
the
Yeah.
transition from going from that and being able to delay them players and then getting yourself into a position that you're going to stop them from getting that counter or stop them from being an out. It's such a creative, it's such a way that you don't know how much hard work has to be put into that.
Yeah.
But once you've got that organisation, the actual value you see from that your team of blocking them and stopping that counter and doing things like that is so important.
I think we've just I think, especially in England, I think we've lost the pride of defending.
Yeah.
Don't get
It
me
used to be a
wrong,
strength for you.
attacking is
Yeah,
very
yeah,
important
yeah.
still.
Yeah,
It is
it
very
is.
You
important.
look at who we have, like Sol Campbell, Rio Ferdinand, John Terry.
Yeah, it was like some of the best players were defenders. Even I think like I've got like a warm up.
But do you think that's down to the FA and the way that we're teaching now is to be more ball rolling time on the ball?
Yeah.
Defending's a little bit, let's be real, to defend it's not on the ball. You're not
Yeah,
on the
but
ball,
then there's
you're off
like,
the
you know,
ball
there's
to
teams
defend.
like Liverpool, let's say, that
Yeah.
defend from the front.
Yeah.
So now that back four, like, that ability to defend,
But they're not on the
how
ball.
we
though.
know it, basically, but they're not on the ball,
That's what
yeah.
I'm saying. So do you think that's where the FA kind of, I'll be real, I haven't read the new DNA yet because the new one's come out, I'm sure. But it's all about being on the ball and the ball rolling time. But,
Yeah.
but to do defensive stuff, I'll be real, you're not on the ball. You're looking at other people's body shape. You're looking
Yeah,
at where
this
their
is it.
position. Where do you position
Yeah,
yourself?
this is what I'm
How do you
saying.
look at that? What foot do you go with? How do you lead
All
them?
that stuff, yeah.
And that's off the ball stuff, and that's boring stuff. But
yeah, and that's the problem, is that even when you're coaching players,
Yeah.
you're doing like defending sessions or you're doing off the ball stuff,
Yeah.
basically, players will just complain to you, I haven't touched the ball in 20
But
minutes
that's
or
what you
whatever. But in my mind, I think, okay, but in 90 minutes of a game, you touch the ball for 2 minutes max.
Trust
so,
me, yes.
so because of that, that indicates to me that 88 minutes of that game,
You're
you're off
positioned.
the ball. So you need to appreciate that way more. Like I've got like a rondo that I saw in a book one time, where if you're the players in the middle
Yeah.
and you gain back possession, I've done it with my players loads of times. You take your bib off
Yeah.
and you slam it on the floor and make the player come and get it.
trust me.
For me, that's like the competitiveness of defending.
Yeah.
I've just won the ball back.
You
Come
say
and
that
get
as
the
well.
bib.
There's also
Yeah.
positive defending and negative defending. Like
There is
me-
fun ways of making defending like.
But I'm talking about in
Yeah.
games, like there's negative defending, there's positive. So the positive, like coming from the front, or like me and Cole went to a game very recently, and even though they were clearing the ball, they were still dropping off. So they would
Yeah.
clear, the ball would come in, they'd clear it, it wouldn't go very far, and they just drop back again. And you're like, that's such a negative thing, because once you clear the ball,
You should.
push straight
Ball
away.
goes 10, you go 10. Ball
You
goes
go-
15, you go
and-
15, and you
yeah.
can't push with it.
I said it to Cole, and Cole agreed straight away. He's
That
like,
was the
you
ball.
watch, they lost the ball, and what did they do? They just kept dropping off. And even if they made a clearance, they wasn't getting enough strength, they would make sure the clearance went. And
Yeah,
another
you're
thing,
just admiring your clearance.
no, it wasn't admiring.
It's like when you do one of them mystery balls.
Hollywood,
that-
Hollywood
It
pass,
wasn't
yeah.
even, hey, that was a
Oh
good
my
one,
God.
you know?
It wasn't even admiring it. It was like, is it going to go far enough? Is it going to go to the right player? And
Yeah.
it shouldn't be like, it's gone. Get down and go and close them.
You're right, there is negative defending and positive defending, but that comes from the coaching, and you need to be able to coach the way that defending is good. It's
Yeah.
a good way to do it, and if you coach that, yes, we need to defend and we don't need to concede, but you've constantly got the message of don't concede instead of actually you defend to score. So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
Then that changes it, because if you're defending to score, when the ball gets to a certain point, you're no longer defenders, you're now transitioning into
Yeah.
the attacking phase where
Yeah.
actually now we need to think about how can we attack.
Yeah.
And do you not forget about our goal for a minute, we've got the ball now.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
understanding that transition from
And I think when you talk about, let's say, the England DNA,
Go on, go on.
Yeah, go on.
when you talk about the England DNA and the ball rolling time,
Yeah.
I think when it's seen as that as well, it shouldn't just be because it's the ball rolling. It's not the ball rolling at your feet.
No.
The ball is still rolling on your
Someone else.
positions.
Yes.
So therefore, you need to be moving while the ball's moving
Yes.
for you to be able to. How can we win the ball back?
No.
What is the most effective way to get that ball back? And that's something I think does get lost because. Yes, we see loads of, oh, look, did you see that assist? Did you see that goal? And it's brilliant because I think attacking is important. And I don't want to lose the sight that, you can't tackle, you shouldn't be winning by loads of goals, because if you can do that, great. But however, there also needs to be an importance
So you're more
of defending.
You're more of a defensive coach as well.
I would say I would be slightly more of a defending coach, but I wouldn't say that it's like
That's the way. You
too much. I think
Midweek
attacking
kind of
is still important. And if you can win by 3-0, if like 3 goals or 5 goals, 6 goals, then you're going to be loving that day.
Yeah, yeah.
However,
If you win by 1.
if you win by 1, you're still going to be happy. So it's just getting that balance of knowing that defending is still really important. Don't focus solely on attacking.
And a lot of times,
That's
a
what
lot
it
of
is.
times when managers get the sack, it's because their teams are not doing. And the first thing they do is they sort out
The back line. It's like built from the back, don't you?
I mean, when you're showing assists and goals, that's great, and I think it should be shown. But why don't you show when they did a good defensive piece or good challenge?
And especially with keepers when they make those big saves.
Yeah.
People
No, I think that could be shown.
The
That
whole
could be
keeper
shown.
position just like melts my heart a little bit because I just think like, no man, I feel like bad for keepers because like there's loads of times that
Absolute
they pull off well.
I would love to see some people jump the way they
when
jump.
when I don't see like defenders like hailing up goalkeepers basically, yeah, and I think like he's just saved everyone's arse.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And there's no yeah man, well
Or they'll
done.
let
Like,
one goal in, but they've saved like 20 in that
20,
game.
yeah, they've saved 20 shots.
But
and,
that's where.
But they're a different breed.
They're such a different breed because you need to understand there's more negatives to keeping than there is positives. So you need your defenders, you need your teammates to bump it. Even if you're safe, because what you need to understand is, and I've said it before, your brain's wired to think negatively. So the keeper pulls off 20 great saves and lets one go in, that's it. Doesn't matter.
I tell you the flip side of that though is like, remember when we went away to that game? Is it Hounslow Ladies? Hounslow Ladies, and I think Grimmin, our keeper, had more saves that day than I've ever seen her make all season, and she made the big saves.
Yeah. Grimmin's different breed of keeper.
But
watch out for Lucia Grimmin. She's up and coming.
But we have a great defence.
Yes.
And it's really hard to break down. But that day, even though we were on top, when we did have to make the big saves or the big moments, Grimmin didn't switch off.
No,
she played with her feet.
It's concentration levels.
But keepers,
concentration levels for a goalkeeper.
Before we move on, keepers, just want to say, like, keepers are a different breed, and they say it as well. They're the most strangest characters because they'll be on the coach, and all the players will be doing something different, and then the keeper will be like, yeah, I was listening to a book. Like,
I've always said like goalkeepers are
smart, they're intelligent. Because what you need to because they need to concentrate so much more. Their brains wired differently.
Yeah.
So they're wired to concentrate. So listening to a book while everyone's messing around is because they need to concentrate. They need that focus.
But it's also just their vision. They're getting to see the game from a different perspective. They'll be able to say to the defender, someone's coming in, or you need to come and cover around this. This is what I'm seeing. They're being able to see stuff, and they're kind of like a little bit of a maestro at the back because they have to be like, come and move into that position because I can see something that your back is to right now, and they're going to help guide through that.
Okay, last question before we talk about the challenges. Last question. Yeah. Who should be captain, keeper or midfielder?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Because they say a keeper shouldn't be captain because he can't get the message forward quick enough.
I think it depends on the keeper.
And they always say midfielders make better captains because they are in the middle of everything. But I know obviously most teams defenders are their captains.
Do you know what? I would write off like the whole position.
Yeah, it's got to be person, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it's got to be down to person.
Individual.
Yeah, I think it's got to be individual because I know strikers that are more
I know the
vocal
keeper
than
that I
everyone
know
else.
now. You can get the message across to the other side of the
Yeah.
pitch. Trust me. So
I don't know.
it's not even.
I think like let's say like at Millwall, our like DM basically is our captain. Now if she gets subbed, injured or whatever, and I've got to take the armband, I'm a left back. So chances are of the right winger hearing me is slim to none. But
I've heard you today.
But as a manager, as a manager, you've got to get your message across from the technical box.
Yeah.
So you find ways, basically.
Yeah.
I think it just comes down
You
to
have to adapt to it.
I think it all depends on the individual. I think you can get a leader and captains. There's this old thing we briefly spoke about it where captains used to be the best player on the pitch. People put best player, your skipper, because they want to keep that player. They don't want to lose them.
It's like giving it to Messi.
You know that, innit? But it's not. A leader is completely different. You don't have to be the best player.
Yeah.
You can be one of your worst players, but if they can manage to get them their message, not just the coach's message, their message to the players and lead them, then.
Yeah, I think
there's different ways of getting your message across. So
by example,
exactly, and that as well. Is that I've got keepers that make rash tackles, do crazy stuff. Basically, you can't really be a captain because like you might not even last 90 minutes. You might get sent off. So
and also some players just need to focus on their game. Some people don't. They find it difficult to do both. So
that's true.
It's knowing your player.
100%.
Again, knowing your player.
That's true.
And understanding your player.
So obviously touching off that. Thank you for coming on. We've got a challenge. Lucia come in and set up a challenge for us.
Coaching it.
And there will be a winner.
Don't worry, I'll set the bar.
Hey, just as we're filming this podcast, I haven't tallied up the scores, but I can say that Carl came off.
I'm not confident I did.
Although Cole will be putting up on Twitter later his little nutmeg of me, just, you know.
I'm not confident that I would be last, but okay.
Listen, I'll be honest with you. Me and Michael are going to have a few conversations about funding, and if I give him enough money, I've won this challenge.
Yeah.
If the editing is right,
I was getting a few more followers this season.
this is what I'm trying to say. So talk to me nicely.
It was good. I enjoyed it, especially for me today. Obviously, I wasn't involved in the last challenge. Cole! What? You was, bruv? You lost to 2 girls.
Oh, yeah.
Woo!
You lost to me.
Why does it matter? Why does it matter about?
Sorry, to young.
This is why we're here, guys.
Cole, you lost to a youngling.
Cole played that so well.
Cole makes it, man. Cole lost to a child.
He played that so well.
Cole lost to a child.
You never even said by any means necessary situation.
But it was good. You know, the challenges that we're setting here when someone comes along and does them, it's good to see different people's coaching perspectives. And I really enjoyed like that aspect of it today. We all got involved. We all did something different. We were all trying to sort of mug each other off, not in like a rude way, but like at the end when I held your hood.
Yeah.
That's gonna be edited out, but
Yeah.
It's cheating, isn't it?
It's a booking.
sorry,
You won that.
sorry, Cole. Did I not let Cole go get the ball to nutmeg me? Did you see what I mean?
I think it was poor body positioning, but I'm just a coach.
But I let him run off before me, and him being the bigger man.
Defensive coach, isn't it? Defensive.
Yeah,
It's fine.
You've got a one-to-one on the house if you need it.
He's claiming it.
I'll
Be
take
careful
it
here.
She's already trying to rack up them points as well.
But yeah, no, it was good.
What does he keep saying to him? He's got a what? He's got a...
Yeah. It was good. It was different. But obviously, to see that, you're gonna have to head over to the YouTube channel and see how it all happened.
Obviously, we talk about it from the last time as well. B winning the nothing but net challenge.
Nothing but net. B got that. So
Two-
3
2-0.
balls, nothing but net. She hit it twice.
2. You got 1, innit?
I hit it once. Unfortunately, Lou Hembra hit it none time. So,
That's your captain, you know. Captain doesn't lead by example.
her sister beat her. So.
Oh, okay. Siblings,
Before we sign out, anything you want to say before we leave?
I just think it's been good. I think it's
You had a good
nice to
day?
have a platform.
Yeah.
So it's good to have a platform to speak openly.
Thanks for having us on there, really.
Yeah, it's good.
No,
It's been
thank you
good.
for
I appreciate
coming
it.
on.
And I'll follow you back, promise.
You heard it here first. Yeah?
Hey, listen, I'm not putting this podcast up until it's a follow. It's going to be, I'm not letting you out the gate in a minute. But yeah, it's been great today. Thank you for coming down. Thank you for giving, and as well, obviously, you've been doing the interview with me. Thank you for your time, ladies. I know that obviously I reached out, and I'm looking forward to sitting there for the next 24 to 89 hours editing your footage.
No, we appreciate your time.
No time. What about that payment? No,
We
thank
can
you.
talk business, it's alright.
Hey, I'm hearing that you're making money off these campuses now.
No, someone else.
Yeah, thank you for today. If you want to do the outro.
Yeah, no, thank you for listening to the Unorthodox Coaching Podcast. Thank you to Mistletoe for sponsoring this podcast, also the interview, for being part of it as well. We look forward to seeing you.
Or seeing or hearing.
You hearing us next week.
It was like one of those things earlier when she's saying, I am so...
Please.
But no, guys,
Outtakes.
that's been Unorthodox. Think outside the box, and we'll hopefully hear from you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lucia the coach.
So the first challenge that we're going to do is how's your touch? What's going to happen is they're going to get some balls fed in. Inside the square is where you need to control the ball. It has to be controlled inside that square, otherwise it don't count. And then you have to take a shot into the goal. If you get it in, that's where you get the points.
Touch. 1-0. Don't worry about it.
Carl Davey, Unorthodox coach. Oh, sorry, ball.
Left back. Okay, so the next one is first time shot. Ball is going to come from behind you, not sure which way it's coming. When it comes over, whether it be left, right, middle, there has to be at least one of each. And if you score, you get the point. Alright, so this one is 1v1. But the run round the cones and shout of go. First one to it gets the shot,